And
So yeah,
the problem is, of course, with this. I know we're branching off a bit, but
yeah.
that's not a bad thing with this subject. The
No,
problem
it's
is
not.
that people like Gary Speed, of course. I think that was back in 2011, something like that. The Welsh footballer, the Welsh football manager at the time,
Yeah.
he killed himself. And again, people say there was no warning. There's no
Mm,
warning at all. And although it's
mm,
not football related, I actually wrote one of my songs about a young lady who I was a friend of a few years ago, and Annalise, her name, and that's the title of my song. And
yeah.
the song expresses what is so often the case with situations like this, that there were
Mm,
no signs, that there was nothing in someone's eyes even. You could say, oh,
yeah.
they look very sad, or in their words. They
Mm,
seem perfectly normal, as we see now,
yeah.
and yet
Yeah.
so often the case. If I suppose if somebody was able to come and express their fears,
Yeah.
they would, and they would be helped. But it's a tragic thing, and we know, for example, that Caroline Flack, another uh, television presenter, seemed to have the world at her feet. Really, she had a problem with an ex-boyfriend, and I think that may have triggered something. But I
Yeah.
think that the thing is, it seems it's a glib thing to say, but it is said, isn't it, that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and maybe that is the issue. That if only people could hang on. Um, well, I can go off to all sorts of tangents, like REM's song "Everybody Hurts."
Yeah.
That kind of is about the same thing. A brilliant song. Anyway, we send our huge condolences to Matt Beard's family.
We do. We do. Yeah. Yeah. Sad thing to happen in well in any sports, let alone
Yep.
football. Yeah. So yeah. So how is Eddie Howe? How is he managing without Isak? What do we think?
Well, of course they drew the other day, didn't they, against Aston Villa
Yeah.
at Aston Villa, I believe. So you may say that implies that they're not managing quite so well,
Yeah.
because Isak was a goal scorer again, one of the best strikers. Some say the best striker in the Premier League. So any team's going to feel the loss of a player like him.
Mm.
I think Eddie Howe. I like him as a manager. He's eloquent. He's clearly very intelligent. He hits the nail on the head when he answers a question. He has a respect for the reporters. He respects people, and I think he's a great role model for what a football manager should be. I think
Mm.
he's first rate. Um, and a bit of surprise really with Newcastle, because they've got mega rich owners, Saudi Arabian owners,
Yeah.
where the sky is the limit in terms of money. But of course, they're limited, even so, despite their big stadium there. They're still limited what they can spend. And I mean, they have spent a lot of money over the last few years, but they can't fall foul, really, of the financial fair play rules, because otherwise they would have bought up, a Premier League winning team.
Yeah.
Now, that said, they got a very good side. I mean, we could go through their players, and Gordon, he's a good player, plays for England now. Defensively, Dan Burn, I think he plays for England as well, doesn't he? A bit of a late comer, but very good defender, very good
Yeah.
defender. Good goalkeeper in Pope. So through the team, and Trippier, of course, on this side, another England player. They've got excellent footballers. And of course Joe Linton is first class,
Yeah.
and the others. So they
Yeah.
and the others. So they've got the makings, I think, of a team to be battling for the Premier League. They should be, really. They should be in the top four at the end of the season. I'm
Mm.
not sure they will be. I don't know. It's just something. they don't seem to be getting the results that you would expect. I mean, Villa have not had a great start to the season, even though I think they're a good side. They've got some
Mm,
excellent footballers. It's strange how this can happen to very good teams. I think Villa will pick up, and I think they will be a top half team in the table.
mm,
So I think that's going to happen. But kind of on Villa's current form, I think they've got 2 points so far. On their current form, you would have thought Newcastle would have had a bit too much for them, but I
mm.
believe it was a 0-0 draw. Certainly, it was a draw. So, to answer your question, I think Eddie Howe will do well this year. I think they will clearly be in the top six, seven, eights, if not better. But it will be interesting to see whether they buy anybody in January, because they'll come around soon, the next transfer window, or
Yeah.
whether they just gradually improve as the season goes on. Some teams just don't do well at the beginning. I mean, we could say Manchester City. They didn't do. They've not had the best start to the season again, have they? Really? And
Mm.
of course, they drew on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, I think, with Arsenal, didn't they? Um, when
Yeah.
the goalkeeper, of course, was sent off. So that game. The goalie was sent off. I think it was. But anyway, there was a draw with Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal scored an equaliser quite late on, didn't they? So yeah, Man City are not doing as well as we might have expected, but I think they've
No.
picked up after an initial setback in their early games. So teams don't always start well. But yeah, I think Newcastle will grow as the season comes on.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about that game on. Although we'll talk about it in the second half of the show, so please stay tuned. But I was just thinking about that the game with Manchester City v Arsenal, and there was a lot of things that didn't I didn't think I didn't think it was Manchester City's style, the way that they played. The way that they played. I mean, all right, so they got the first goal via what's his name? The Haaland.
Haaland,
Yeah, so they
good
got they
goal
got
as well.
so they got
Brilliant
they
goal.
got the goal via Haaland. But then they seemed to sit back. They just sat back,
Mm,
didn't they? And just let Arsenal come at them over and over and over again. When you allow teams like, teams that are of a high caliber to come at you over and over and over again, it's bound to happen.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you just
yeah.
know that you're bound to trip up. They're gonna make you trip up or make a mistake. And yeah, we're actually gonna talk about that. And then in the second half as well, we're gonna talk about Amrim.
Yeah, yeah.
Ruben Amrim. It's starting to sound to me like Ten Hag and the other one. What's his name? The one before Ten Hag. And I think they all starting to sound the same anyway. But when we do come back in the second half, we just look at that as well. And then we will look at what David Moyes, the tie against, I think it was Liverpool that they played. Was it? Yeah,
Mm, it
yeah,
was, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So they played Liverpool, and we saw that, and it didn't quite go right. So
But just to interrupt
yeah,
you there,
go on.
um, Liverpool went on to win that, didn't they? They scored very late on,
Yeah, they did 2-1. Then they
2-1,
ended
wasn't it? Yeah,
ended 2-1 in it. So.
yeah.
What I'm going to say now, please don't go away. We'll be back shortly, and we've got all these other, um, you know, things to talk about. So please stay tuned. So join us when we come back for the break.